Okay. Who? Huh. I'm going to stop this. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
And this is Psalm 58. 58. David prays for the downfall and destruction of his enemies, particularly.
No.
Yeah,
Wrong
what?
one. We did that one.
We did?
I think so.
I thought we did 57 yesterday.
Okay.
I mean, I have a bookmark.
Okay.
Yeah, and this, it didn't mention Avner. It says these are all a bunch about David praying, for the destruction of his enemies. Particularly Avner, Saul's leading general who encouraged Saul to continue his pursuit of David. I'm hanging in with my interpretation that I like. I feel this stuff, that it's up to God to take care of those external enemies, and God will decide those sorts of things. And the issue then becomes whether or not God feels we deserve that protection. And that's kind of what we have to hope for. All right, Lam Natseach, there it is, as they translate every time, to the chief musician Al Tashchet, the Psalm of David, a Michtam. Can your silence be justified at a time when righteousness you should speak, when with equity you should judge the sons of man? Indeed, in your heart you commit wrongs in the land. The violence of your hands outweighs the good. Estranged are the wicked from the womb. Astray from birth go the speakers of lies. Their venom is like the venom of a serpent, like a deaf viper which closes his ear, so as not to hearken to the voice of charmers, of the most cunning spellbinder. God, break their teeth in their mouth, and the incisors of young lions smash. Adonai. Let them melt away as water that is always running. When God aims his arrows, let it be as though they are cut down. Let them be as the snail, which melts and slithers away, like the stillbirth of a mole that has not seen the sun, before the development of your tender shoots into hardened thorns. With his might, with God's wrath, he will sweep them away as with a whirlwind. The righteous will rejoice when he sees the vengeance. His feet he will wash in the blood of the wicked. And man will say, indeed, there is reward for the righteous. Indeed, there is a judge, God, administering justice in the land. Well.
I find it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Very interesting because we don't rejoice in the downfall of our enemies.
You are not. No, that's not necessarily. Does it say that specifically? Did I not pay attention sufficiently?
In the very beginning,
As the righteous will rejoice. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I could always. Okay, so the question is, what are you rejoicing in? Are you rejoicing at the downfall of the enemy, or are you rejoicing in the fact that God is administering justice?
Well,
and if you look at the enemy as internal, you certainly gain joy by defeating some of your inner enemies.
Correct.
That's
yeah. Go ahead.
I said I like that.
Yeah, I do too. That's why I just prefer going that route. I think it's okay. Look, I think if we're going to look at this psalm as a pshat, as a simple, those enemies are the external enemies. It's Avner, it's these other people. Well, I mean, you could say that David was in such an awful place, and so scared and stressed and, emotional, that this was his outpouring. But on the other hand, I'd love to feel that I can control myself enough to look into my own enemies. I mean, the truth is that as I look at the adversities that I face, as minimal as they are, quite honestly, compared to some, I have to say God is justified in throwing those adversities in my way. That if anything, I have lots of dayenus you know, even the sukkah that I'm sitting in, the weather that we've had this sukkahs. It's been so lovely. At any rate, let me go now to the Rashi. There we are. Okay, we are right here. We did not do the Rashi on Dan, so I'm going to do the best I can here. Dan Guri Aryeh, we translated that, right? I said Dan is a lion's whelp. Afhu Haya Samuch Laspar, he too was a tribe that was next to the border. Lefichach Moshlo Ba'ariot, and for that reason, the metaphor of lions is used for him. Yizanek min habashan. I'm going to make sure. Yeah, right. Yizanek min habashan. So stream forth from the Bashan, from Bashan. Ketargumo. Let's see. Oh, okay. So here, R.A., his land, Shatya min Nachalaya de Nagdan min Matnan. Wow. Okay, I'm having to work hard there. Lots of Aramaic words that I don't know. So Shatya appears to be the word Yizanek, and whether Shatya means streams forth, min Nachalaya, that's Nachalaya would be from the word Nachal, meaning a river. Okay, the Nagdan min Matnan, and that's beyond my pay grade at this point. And Matnan could be a name of a place, right? So just the context would sort of suggest then that somehow that they come from Matnan, and I'm not standing by that. All right. Shahaya HaYarden. So Rashi goes on to say that the Yarden, the Jordan River, Yotze Michelko, would come out from his portion, Mima'arat Pamias, from the cave of Pamias. And by the way, of course, Pamias is nowadays you hear it as Banyas, right? Same place up where the source of the Jordan, and trying to read the Ptolemaios. So that's apparent. That's interesting. So whether Banyas and Pamias is a corruption of Ptolemaios is the name of that particular cave. Vehi Leshem. Okay, it's also known as Leshem, Shehi Bechelko Shel Dan, which is in the portion of Dan. Shneamar, as it states in Joshua 19, Vayikra'u LeLeshem Dan. Okay, they called Leshem Dan, they gave it that name. Vezinuko Vekilucho min Habashan. So kiluach is like the spouting, right? So it's these are synonyms, right? It's streaming and it's spouting is from Bashan. Another interpretation, davar acher, ma zinuk ze yotze mimakom echad. Just as, let's translate it as stream, as this stream comes from one place, v'nechalak lishnei mekomot, and gets divided into two places, kain shivto shel Dan. Likewise, the tribe of Dan, natlu chelek b'shnei mekomot, they found a portion in two different places. Tchila natlu b'tzfonit maravit. Originally, they took their portion in the north western place, Ekron v'svivoteha, the area of Ekron and its surroundings. V'lo safku lahem, but that was not enough for them. Uva uva nilchamu im leshem, and so they came and made war against Leshem, Shehi Pamias, which is the same as Pamias, Vehi Bitzfonit Mizrachit, and that is on the northeastern side of the land of Israel. Shahare Hayarden Yotze Mima'arat Pamias, because in fact the Jordan comes out, it springs from the cave of Pamias, Vahu b'mizracha shel Eretz Yisrael, and that's on the eastern side of the land of Israel. Uva mehatzafon ledarom, and it comes from north to south. The Kaleh Miktzei Yam Hamelach, and it ends at the edge of the Dead Sea. The sea, this literally it means the Salt Sea. Shehu b'mizrach Yehuda, which is on the east side of Judah. Shenatal bidroma shel Eretz Yisrael, because Judah acquired its portion towards the south of the land of Israel. Kamoshe Meforash b'Sefer Yehoshua, as is specified in the book of Joshua. V'hu and that is, it says in Joshua 19, Vayetze gvul b'nei Dan mehem, and the border of the children of Dan went out from them. V'ya'alu b'nei Dan, and the children of Dan went up, vayilchamu im Leshem, and they went and made war with Leshem, etc. Yatsa gvulam mikol oto haruach, so their border went out from that entire direction, shehitchilu linchobo, that they had begun to inherit. So that's a little puzzling, and I will look very quickly to see what Sfaria has about that. Let's take a look. Okay. So the border of the children of Dan went forth from them, for the children of Dan went up and fought against Leshem and possessed it and dwelt therein. That is, their border went forth from all that direction in which they first took their inheritance. That's equally a little bit puzzling, but anyway, that's what he says. And I think it just simply says is that they enlarged their border. I think it's a simple way of saying that. So, okay, let's go in there. All right, 23. Ula Naphtali Amar, and now we've moved on to Naphtali, the tribe of Naphtali. Naphtali Sava Ratzon. Naphtali is satiated. Umale Birkat Adonai, and is filled with the blessing of Hashem. Yam, the south, the west, Vidarum, and the south. In the west and the south, Yerasha, they have inherited. So let's take a look at the Rashi here. Svaratzon. So they were satiated, they were satisfied. Shahaita arzo svea kol ritzon yoshveha. He says that their territory would satisfy all those who inhabited it. It was a very satisfying place to live. Yam v'darom, west and south, Yarasha, they inherited. Yam Kineret, nafla bechelko, so the Kineret, the Sea of Galilee, fell in his portion. V'natal maloch hevel, this looks like harem, bidroma. Okay, I'll have to, okay, so Maloch Hevel would literally means the fullness of a rope, but I think that it just means a smaller portion, okay, on the south side, Lifrosh Haramim Umichmorot. That's, I'll have to look at that up. I want to make sure I know what that means. Second. Okay. All right, there we go. All right. It says, receives on its south a rope's length of fishing coast for spreading out his nets and meshes. So charamim umichmorot would be nets and meshes. They fished in the Sea of Galilee. All right. Yarasha. So he says that form of the word lashon tzivui. It's a command. It's an imperative. Kamo ale reish which means go up and inherit. V'hatam lamala baresh, so it's yarasha. You notice that that's where the accent falls. Yarasha. Baresh mochiach, that is the proof that it is an imperative. Kamo yarash, yada lakach, or yarash yada lakach shma keshemosif bo ha hey. When you add a hey, yihiyeh hatam lamala, the accent falls on the uh, the pen,
Penultimate.
the penultimate syllable. So here we go. So it's yarash. See how the accent's falling that, but sham yad salcha. Although I think it's still lakha. So I don't know. Afkan yarasha lashon sivui. There. Oh, so okay. So yida'a shma'a slacha lekacha. Yeah. Va'afkan yirasha lashon sivui. It's an imperative form. Uve mesoret hagdola. And in the large Mesorah, Matzina, we found Ba'alpha Beta in the tabulation, Lashon Sivui de eat, okay, de Ta'amehon Mela'el. So this is some kind of book of grammar, of the grammar of the Torah. And it says specifically that when it's considered an imperative, that the accent should fall on the penultimate syllable and not the ultimate syllable. And I can go back into Safaria and see how they.
That's what Safaria says.
Okay, all right,
Grammar lesson.
yeah. Oh, Rashi does do that at times. That's for sure. Okay, moving on. All right, let's make sure we covered all that territory. Ula Asher Amar, and to Asher, the tribe of Asher, he said, Baruch mibanim Asher, blessed above the sons is Asher, Yehi Ritzui Echav, may he be desired of his brothers, in other words, the desired one amongst his brothers, the tovel b'shemen raglo, and he dips his feet in oil. Okay. Baruch mibanim Asher, blessed among sons is Asher. Ra'iti b'sifrei, that Rashi says, I saw in the Sifrei, that's that Midrash on Numbers and Deuteronomy, Ein lacha b'chol hashvatim, there are no other tribes, shenit barech babanim ka'asher, that was blessed with sons like Asher, ve'eni yodea ketzad, and Rashi says, but I have no idea how he was blessed with sons, etc. Just that's mentioned there. Yehi Ritzui Echav, may he be desired of his brothers. Shahaya Mitratzel Le'echav Beshemen, he appealed to his brothers through oil. In other words, by providing them with oil, they liked him a lot, something like that. Anfikinun. Okay. So Beshemen anfikinun uvekiplaot. So these are words that have specific meanings, and I'd have to look them up. Vehein martzin lo betuah, and they would barter, I suppose is the way it would work, or they would make him happy with produce. So he would trade the oil for the other. Again.
So the word it says unripe,
Okay.
raw olive. So it's just
Okay.
the what's used for anointing.
Yes. Aha. Okay. Okay. And fine fruits is it? And they paid him with grain, is what it's saying. Okay. Let's keep going. Okay. So Tbu'ah specifically is grain, and kiplaot would be fine fruit. We just have a little bit of time. We'll try and get this done. Davar acher, another interpretation, he ritzui echav, he is desired or finds favor amongst his brothers. Shehaya benotav, because he had beautiful daughters. Benotav naot, his daughters were beautiful. Vahushin emar, and this is stated in Chronicles, first book of Chronicles, chapter 7. Hu avi barzit, he was the father of Barzit, Shayu benotav nesuot lakohanim, whose daughters were married to priests, kohanim gedolim, to high priests, hanim shachim b'shemen zayit. And the high priest, of course, was anointed with olive oil. So let's see. Okay, I'll try and take a little bit more. We have a tiny bit more time. The tovel b'shemen raglo, and he dips in oil his feet. Shahaita arzo moshechet shemen, that because the oil was drawn from his land, kema'ayan, like a well or like a spring, uma'aseh shenitztarchu, and there is a story, shenitztarchu anshe Ludkia l'shemen, that the people of Ludkia required oil. Manu lahem polmistus echad, they appointed again, this is a sort of Greek word that I would have to look up.
This agent.
Okay, fair enough. They appointed an agent, etc. Kedeita b'menachot, as is stated in the tractate Menachot. And I don't know if Svaria fills in the gaps there as to what we're talking about.
It
there.
says to purchase a large quantity, and
Yeah.
we're able to do so only at a city of Asher.
So that's the reason for.
And it refers to a Rashi in Genesis 49.
Yes, and also the Talmudic, it also gives you the Talmudic origin of that, Menachot 85b.
Mhm.
All right, I'm going to stop here. That's as far as we can go now. So let's stop the share. Okay. All right. So so I was informed yesterday that the Hoshanot arrived. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.